The Indianapolis Colts have lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's going to be our topic today. This loss personal, but we still might get a little tore up about it. Basically, we're going to run down this whole game, talk about what we did wrong and what we actually did right, because it wasn't nothing, but it wasn't a ton either, to be honest with you. Bad as this loss is, that doesn't necessarily make it the end of the road here. We had honestly, we came out the game good in the first drive. We did good. Then, second drive, we come down, turnover. And the turnover session started. And we had 6. We had 5 sacks allowed. It was a very bad day for our own line. We're going to get into everything here in a second. But just as a quick through-the-game rundown, I really think the Steelers scored, 24 points, wasn't it? It was 27-20 was the final score. That's right. So they scored like 24 points off turnovers. So that doesn't take a lot of rocket science to figure out, that's what caused our loss, you know? But at the end of the day, we did, in fact, get those turnovers. I would say a bad throw by Danny, one of those. And he did have, there was 3 interceptions today. I think one of those was a bad throw. I think the other 2 were tipped balls that probably could have gone either way, but they didn't. So that's what happened. Steelers, and the crazy thing about it is the Colts outgained the Steelers in total yardage. It is just these it's these costly mistakes. And the one thing that a lot of us people who talk about the Colts continually said before the season, before this game was, hey, no easy things for the Steelers, because if you give the Steelers a mile, inch, they'll take a mile. And, Aaron Rodgers went 25 of 35 for 203 yards and a touchdown. That's it. That's not that's not bad. That's good. But that's definitely not an amazing game. That's just an okay game. And but I we still played our game to a certain extent. And a lot of Colts talkers on the internet kind of talking about how this was a very, very bad game for the Colts. And I don't necessarily feel like it was a terrible game. I'd give this game a C, probably, if I was going to give it a grade. The turnovers are what got us. TJ Watt is a game wrecker, all right? TJ Watt is a dog, all right? He's a dog! And the problem with guys like that is that they're a bit unpredictable. And what I mean by that is they have the ability at any point in time to beat whoever you put in front of them. So you can think this one way is going to work, and then you put somebody in front of them who they just obliterate on one play. I mean, maybe in the next couple plays they don't get so good, but a guy like TJ Watt can beat you and cause you to go like this and drop the ball just like he did to him, just like he's done to people a lot of times over the years. Daniel Jones, he lost 2 fumbles, and that's one of them I just talked about. That's 5 turnovers for Daniel Jones. 100% Daniel Jones is the reason we lost this game. All right? We still, actually, I tell you what, let me talk about one more thing real quick. The Colts entered with the strongest offense in the league, but the Steelers' defense really flipped the script with those 6 turnovers. Turnovers were the deciding factor, giving the Steelers short fields and extra possessions. Aaron Rodgers looks really good with 30 yards in front of him. I mean, Daniel Jones would look great with 30 yards in front of him. All these people who are glazing Aaron Rodgers, it's actually crazy because he really didn't have that great of a game. I mean, in all likelihood, aside from if you take over these turnovers, which I've said 4 times now are his fault and are the reason he lost, but let's say you take these out and 342 yards and a touchdown is, and 31 of 50 passing isn't great, but that's not bad either. Like, that's not terrible. So those aren't terrible numbers right there. But when you throw 3 interceptions and lose 2 fumbles, you lose the game. Not like Aaron Rodgers had an amazing game and proved himself to be none of that. The Steelers are a complete good football team like we are, but at times, actually majority of the time, their defense has sucked up until yesterday, especially whenever I got a text. I lost a little train of thought. I'm sorry. But anyway, especially when they get out early to a lead, and Daniel Jones looked bad. Listen, here's the thing, is once he got down, I'm looking at him like he's going back to playing for the Giants or something like that. Like, once he got down, it seemed he was rattled. He made easy throws, but and even some, in the end of the game was really good, kind of in garbage time. But he made some good throws. he did, but at the same time, he looked rattled. He looked like he was. I mean, you can see it in his eyes. I mean, there's a meme all over the internet right now that you can see it in this man's eyes. Like, I see if I can very quickly pull it up here. I think it's right here. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Here it is. Let me just show this because I think it's worth showing. The caption reads, "Trending, #Giants fans have issued a warning to Colts fans after Daniel Jones made this face while struggling." Let me see if I can. Bink. Look at that. Oh no, and on a 3rd and 22.
Yeah, Danny Smith.
So, I think that Daniel Jones got a little rattled and it went a little bad for him, but it could turn around. I don't think it's gonna happen forever. We're going to play the Eagles. Or not the Eagles. The Eagles. The Falcons. The Birds. The Falcons overseas next week at 9:30 in the morning. So my hope is, I guess I could say, that we turn it around and get back to our normal selves. Let's talk about a couple of stats here. I just mentioned Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers' stats, but Jonathan Taylor only had 45 yards and 14 carries. And here's the thing. People are making a big deal about that, and they're saying, run the ball more. That's not been the Colts philosophy up until this point. We run or pass to score, run to win. So it means we come out at the beginning of the game pretty pass heavy. And when we came out and we were losing, they made the costly turnovers that we did, and we were losing, we continued to pass because we needed we were down. So, yes, he was held to 45 yards on 14 carries, but we didn't necessarily play. We were losing, man, and so we had to pass the ball. What can I say? It's pretty much that simple. However, Jaylen Warren on the other side scored 2 rushing touchdowns. TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith each had huge defensive plays, notably strip sacks. And Joey Porter Jr. did get an interception. And that's just key players on each team there. Michael Pittman, so there are a few, before we get into this, we got a couple of segments here we're going to be talking about, but this is the one why it mattered. The Colts entered one of the strongest offenses in the league, but the Steelers defense flipped the script. Turnovers were the deciding factor, giving the Steelers short fields and extra possessions. Again, Aaron Rodgers is great with 30 yards in front of him. Despite yardage and big plays by receivers for the Colts, they couldn't convert consistently or protect the ball. That is the whole issue here. That, converting that fourth at the beginning, faking the punt, I was like, we're in this game, baby. After the 2 interceptions, oh boy. The Steelers regained momentum with timely defensive execution and capitalizing on the Colts' mistakes. Not that the Steelers had this amazing game. This, by far, being Daniel Jones' worst game, He 31 for 50. Again, he threw for 342 yards. That's his highest yardage, however, this year by a landslide. Touchdown and 3 interceptions. Last week, just for instance, he threw 3 touchdowns and no interceptions on 21 attempts. 50 is his most attempts by far. He's had 34 2 other times, but 50, again, we were throwing, we were down. So the question that's kind of been posed on social media here recently has been, has the Giants' Daniel Jones returned? And I would say probably not. Giants' Daniel Jones was very bad, and I don't feel like he's back to that type of situation. Definitely a setback. Definitely a bad game out of him. I'd give Daniel Jones a D in this game. He threw for almost 350 yards, and he's getting a D out of me, personally. Whole team about a C, maybe C+. But they were off schedule the whole game. 1 for 15s, 3 for 3rd and 20s. That's not how they operate. It's behind the sticks. Normally the Colts operate in front of the sticks, getting short first downs to Michael Pittman, getting short first downs, and we did some of that. But when you give the ball up, it's all for naught. The Steelers were really playing off a 2-game losing streak where they were probably not happy at all with their team, not happy with the results. So they're probably playing a little upset. The Colts did kind of come alive in the fourth quarter, not going to lie. The fourth quarter looked like the Colts again, and of this season again, and that's good because about in the third quarter, I was starting to feel like we were back in last season where we just kind of were inevitably doomed every single week, and a little just worried, to say the least, about every single game. This season, it's a lot different. We are optimistic, and when we lose, we're like, but we were... I mean, we've not lost by over 7 points all season, and people are acting like this is the worst game we've played, and we lost by 7 points, and it's like, it was bad. But you need to understand 6 turnovers doesn't happen very often. 6 turnovers, I don't even have to look that up to know it doesn't happen very often, and when it does, those teams lose a lot. Like, Peyton Manning threw 6 interceptions in a game. He threw 5.5 on November 11th, 2007 versus the San Diego Chargers. This is a career high for him with 5 interceptions occurring in the first half. The Colts ended with the Chargers defeating the Colts 23-21. 2 points. He threw 6 interceptions, and we lost by 2 points. Do you understand that it can happen? Mistakes can 100% happen now. Play action didn't work, is the thing. The run game really didn't work too well when we did try it. Play action, they weren't buying it. They blitzed us. Credit to that defensive coordinator. My God, I don't even know his name off the top of my head. Arthur Smith is their offensive one, but I can't name him right now. I know it used to be Canada, I think. Or that was offensive. I don't know right now off the top of my head. I'm not looking it up. But the play action just didn't work. And it seems like that the Steelers defensive coordinators and defensive backs knew this, that they kind of needed to attack this. And the Steelers kind of having an abnormally good game. The Steelers, they won the first game of the season against the Jets by 2 points. And the Jets have won 1 game. The Steelers have not beat anyone by over 1 touchdown. I'm lying about that, right? It looks like they did beat the Browns by a little bit. But the week after beating the Browns, they get beat by the Steelers. And some notable Week 9 upsets here. The Green Bay Packers lost to the Carolina Panthers, okay? The Vikings took down what's supposedly the best team in the league, the Detroit Lions, 27-24 on that game. The Bears, who supposedly are not good, and neither are the Bengals, right? Well, the Bears and the Bengals played, and the Bears scored 47 points, and the Bengals scored 42 points. That's 89 points. You mean to tell me before you went into that game you were like, the Bears and Bengals are going to score 89 fucking points? No, you didn't think that. NFL, unpredictable, and one game does not define this team, and it's a game that we didn't let up in. It's a game that we fought till the end in. That's when you're worried about your team. The Falcons, who are playing next week, almost beat the One second. Falcons, who beat what is supposed to be the best team in the league, almost beat them. A mixed extra point by the Falcons in the fourth quarter contributed to this narrow win for New England, 24-23. So that Falcons defense is good. And then the Raiders lost in overtime. There's been a lot of games this season and even this week that have not really gone how everyone was supposed to, and that doesn't make that team terrible. Are the Chiefs bad? Ask yourself that question. Look at their record. Didn't the Giants beat the Chargers, beat the Eagles, to beat the Chargers on September 28th and the Eagles on October 9th? Didn't they? Did they not? So do the Giants suck or not? Like, everyone hyped up the Giants, and I like the Giants too, I'm not going to lie. But, you can't have your cake and then also eat your cake too. So just because we had a bad game and everyone's on social media like, see, I told you guys the Colts suck. I tried telling you, Daniel Jones not no good. It's like, bro, the Chiefs? What are the Chiefs right now? Let's just look up that shit. The Chiefs are 5-4 after losing to the Bills last night. Do the Chiefs suck or like what's going on here? Because this happens a lot. So everyone who's on social media is saying that, just maybe think about what you're saying 2 seconds before you actually say it. We had no plan for Darnell Washington. He's 6'7", 300 pounds. We had no plan for this man. He ran all over us. It was, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, it was like probably the other deciding factor rather than all those turnovers. Darnell Washington was unstoppable because the Colts had no one big enough to stop him. And during the game, I had that exact same idea and thought in my head, like, I don't think we have anybody who could stop this guy. Maybe Defoe, maybe DeForest Buckner. But anyway, I know obviously people tackled him, but it was tough, But here's the deal. We've been a great team. The Packers just lost to the Panthers and the Browns. Okay, so are the Packers a good team? So understand that this doesn't define us. We got to get a win in Germany. We've been a great team up until this point. We still are a great team, okay? We just had to come back on Sunday and act like it. You know what I'm saying? Let's do one last segment here. Let's do studs and duds. We will actually start with the duds because we're moving on after this podcast to the Falcons, okay? So let's start with the duds. Duds, O-line. O-line really kind of shit the bed this game. Really let Daniel get sacked too much. They've been really great. I think they can turn it back around, but just not a good game out of them at all. And they admitted that after the game. Quentin Nelson, you can hear him and all them talk about it. Obviously, Daniel Jones accounting for 5 turnovers. That's a dud. DJ's a dud there. Jonathan Taylor only had 45 yards. Not necessarily all his fault, but you need to do more with the opportunities you do have at the end of the day. So JT's a dud. I put somebody on here who, controversial potentially, but Zaire Franklin had a bunch of tackles, made a couple of good plays, but also missed badly a couple of crucial times. I remember watching 2 different times where he kind of missed the tackle that would have saved us pretty good. First down one time, and I believe it was a touchdown the second. So you can't expect perfection, but at least in the red zone, you got to try to tighten that up. So I put that on there, and then the muff punt kind of started it all. Josh Downs. So those are the duds. Get those out the way. Some studs, the defense, and Jalen Jones. Jalen Jones had a pretty good comeback party, and that defense really held its own. I mean, other than those 2 drives, pretty much, where they had no field to work with the defense, and offense had all the field in the world, and they're at the 20 or 30, I think it was. Then yeah, defense played pretty well. Other than those things, Latu probably had the game of his career. He had 2 sacks, a couple of pressures, and it was, a great game. Alec Pierce and Pittman both had 115 yards each. That's 250 yards between the two. Then that's very crazy. That's definitely a stud. And a caveat here, I put Zeke on the studs list too, because all the tackles he got this game, the couple of tackles, I think it was a tackle for loss one time and another maybe 2 tackles for loss, but because he's 50-50, I kind of put that on there to prove a point. You could put him on there at any time because he really dives and misses people bad, and what are you going to do about that, But we look forward to the Falcons. Let's touch really quick on our other teams. Kentucky football actually won on Saturday. They beat Auburn 10-3. So shout out Mark Stoops. Although you don't need your job still. Sorry, my friend. Florida on Saturday at 7:30. All starts tomorrow in a game that we have a very good chance of winning. I'm very excited about that one. Pacers play today. We are 1-5. We play the Milwaukee Bucks. We play at 7. Miles Turner will probably have something slick to say. He always does, and that's okay. But hopefully we can pull that one out. That would be awesome. We do have some pretty key injuries right now, however. I know that injuries have definitely been our downfall for the Pacers. And I think it's crazy because it might be a Pacers fan longer than a Colts fan, because my first love was basketball, and I played a lot of it as a kid, actually. Current injuries, we got Tyrese obviously out. TJ McConnell's out. He actually might be returning soon. We got Cam Jones, who's returning on the 9th. Supposedly that's via Tony East of WRTH Channel 13 News reports. Mathurin is considered week to week. He is out. Obi Toppin is out. He'll undergo surgery to place a screw in his foot on Monday. So he's out. Andrew Nembhard is out. Shoulder. He has been ruled out for Monday's game against the Bucks. Furphy is probable with a foot for Monday's game against the Bucks. And Ray J. Dennis is listed as questionable for Monday against the Bucks. So banged up is an understatement, but we fight and we claw. That's what Indiana teams do, and that is what this one does as well. We won that game last time with a very, very big just grit. We just had grit on our side. And only injuries for the Bucks. You had Giannis, who's considered day to day. He's probable for the game on Monday, and we have Kevin Porter Jr., who is out. He's having a procedure, getting sidelined for 4 weeks. So, Pacers hopefully can get it done tonight if we can get one out. Colts can turn it around. We can see Kentucky football got to win. We're happy about that. Kentucky basketball starts tomorrow. So this week is going to be better than on Sunday, because my teams are going to win again, hopefully. But, don't get too discouraged by this loss. Teams in the NFL, they lose. If you were expecting us to go 17-0, sorry, that was always unrealistic. That would be cool, but I don't think so, because sometimes it happens in the NFL. Thank you guys so much for listening. Check me out on TikTok, on X. It's all at JD Stakes. Thank you guys. Have a great day.